Hey guys, Patrick Wind here and welcome back to our Top 50 e-commerce Facebook audiences model. So, now that we got all the basics right, we are finally ready to present you the top 50 e-commerce Facebook audiences, which you can directly apply to your own campaigns. Let's get started with analyzing first where we can do this actually. So, when we create our saved audience, okay, at the part almost very down below, it says detailed targeting, okay, and this detailed targeting is the second to last. The last section is connections, so it's detailed targeting, and here we can include people who match at least one of the following criteria. And what this basically does technically, it takes the audience that you have already created by filtering it by the location, by age, by gender, okay? And then in addition, it applies this filter of people who fulfill these criteria, okay? And the criteria we have are categorized into three big categories: demographics, interests, and behaviors, okay? And in each of those three categories, you find some treasures for e-commerce owners like you, where you can really specifically target people who are very likely to purchase because of the demographics, because of the interests or the behaviors. And let's just walk through each of the categories and my recommendations for each of them, okay? So within demographics, you have a subcategory that's called live events, okay? And within these live events, you find 22 very nice audiences that you can use for your e-commerce targeting, okay? So let's get started. The first one is everything that comes down to people who have anniversary or their own birthday within a couple of days. So this is of course nice if you tell them something like, hey, do you already know what to wish for from your girlfriend or boyfriend? Or do you already know what to wish for your own birthday? Or you don't have to use specific messaging and just show them your e-commerce products, and they usually they're more likely to resonate with that when their birthday is upcoming or their anniversary is upcoming than just in the off season. Okay, that's one thing. The second cluster of very interesting audiences is what I call the gift audience, okay, which can be seen as like close friends of men with birthday, close friends of women with birthday in a couple of days, or either both of them together, okay? So these people are very likely to purchase a gift for their close friend within the next days. And therefore, here you should really use a specific copy, because they're not going to purchase it for themselves, but they would rather purchase it as a gift, okay? And tell them something like, our products are also wrapped in a very nice packaging. That's the ideal gift for your boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or friend or whatever you want to use. But it's these specific gift audiences try to emphasize once again that your product is ideal of being gifted to their friend, to their close friend, okay? Then the next category of live events is people who have recently moved to a new apartment or a new city. Newly engaged people, as you very well know, when you're in love, you're very likely to give away some presents. The same with newlyweds, people who just got married, and then once again long distance relationship, so also people who are in love. So these people you can always target with some love related copies, which is good. And then also those the same applies to newly engaged, new relation, and new engaged, so on and so forth. The only thing that's different here is the new job. Here you can also use you can either use your standard messaging, because when people have a new job, they're more likely to purchase products in general. However, you can also use a specific copy with something like, it depends on your industry, depends on the products you sell, but something like get dressed up for your new job. And that's of course more relevant. And as we know, the more relevant our ads are, the better it is. So that's it for demographics. But then there's the second chunk of interests, okay? However, here we have to be careful, okay? because I really separate between hot and between hard and soft facts. So for example, if it is my own anniversary, Facebook knows that pretty well because I gave them my birth date, and of course we can now argue sometimes people give the wrong information, but the majority of people give the accurate information, and therefore this is a very hard data, like when's my anniversary, okay? But however, those interests, they're rather soft data. So how do they really determine whether Patrick is interested into shopping, for example? Okay, that's not so hard, it's rather soft. So therefore I would recommend to take a look at them carefully, okay? They're hard facts, those are rather soft facts, but they're still based on a very profound estimation made from Facebook's mathematicians. However, still have that in mind. Moreover, those interests are not super general recommendations as those ones, as the demographic ones. However, those interest ones are depend much more on your specific industry, okay? Therefore, I always recommend to take a deeper look at all of those, and probably you find some category that fits perfectly to you that you can then combine with the general ones, okay? So that's the trick. Narrow down your audience by the specific interest for your industry, combined with a general e-commerce audience that really works nicely, okay? That's what I just said, the expert tip. This is a wonderful option for narrow audience. Thus you apply one of the general audience recommendations, for example, close friends of women with birthday in 0 to 7 days. And then you narrow it down with one of those specific interests for your own industry. There is a huge list of interests that you could select from, and if you don't find them within the drop-down menu, you can always just type it in here in the blank field, type in whatever you want and see if it's still in their database as an interest, even though it is not listed in this category, okay? So if you don't find your specific niche within the list here, you can always just type it in the blank field, and you can always be lucky to find them. So however, there are still some general audiences that work nicely in the interest section, and they are based on my own experience over the past years, and I used all of them already. And of course, depending on the product and depending on your specific niche, they perform better or worse. But here's a list of interests that I used a lot, and they work very nicely. So for example, people are interested in tattoos, and depends on the style that you sell, or if you sell products to parents, then the entire category of children, the entire category of, the category of parents is another one, but there's also the category if you're in the clothing section for children, men's and women's clothing. Also the parents could be interested in children clothing, then the entire fashion accessoires, shopping, and fitness and wellness. So those are some general recommendations that you really find easily in the download section. And I don't want to enter much more into detail here because they're not so general, because they really depend on your industry. So therefore continue with the general behavior categories, because here are really some jewelries, here some treasures that really help you to get more out of your prospecting audiences, and they're applicable to the majority of businesses. So that one was very individual depending on what you're selling, but here the behavior one is a good one, and especially I've prepared 2 last expert tips to also finalize this model with a wow effect. And before that, let's go into the 11 ones that I've selected here for you. One is their own anniversary, and it's just categorized here into behavior, and which is basically the same as the one we had here, but just in the longer time period. And then that's a good one. That's one I use a lot. Digital activities, people who are Facebook page admins. This will help you to, well, on the one hand to understand the digital activity, but on the other hand it shows you that they are business owners, okay? Because usually all the business owners, they also have a Facebook profile, or they're at least interested into social media and could be more relevant, could be more likely to be on Facebook during the day. So this is a category that helps me a lot. And then if you want, you can also select people whose behavior, for example, takes mainly place in the internet browser Google Chrome or Safari, or people's operating system is a Mac OS or Mac Sierra, and also their email address, like Apple users or Apple email or Gmail users, then small business owners, close friends of expats, and then you can also choose expats from one specific country that interests you. So all of this is interesting. And now my expert tips, one of my favorite ones is behavior, purchase behavior, and then engaged shoppers, because this engaged shoppers is a killer one. It targets people who have clicked the call to action button shop now in the past week. So that is very, very cool, helps you a lot to identify high intent customers, so people who are on Facebook and are very likely to actually purchase stuff after they see it on Facebook. But once again, this audience alone will not bring you anything, because you will have people who are interested in such a broad variety. So it's super important to get, for example, the category of engaged shoppers, and then you narrow it down with one specific interest that works for your business. For example, if you sell jewelry, well, then take people interested into fashion accessories, jewelry, and must also be engaged shoppers. So that would be a cool recommendation. That would work very nicely. And the last one that I've prepared for you, which is not in the detailed targeting section, but rather a little bit below. So detailed targeting, rather in the connections part, okay? So here you have the category of Facebook pages, apps and events, and the second line here, so friends of people who like your page, is also a very good one. Of course, you have to have at least 1,000 fans on your page so this can really work. But if you have more than 1,000 fans, this will be super powerful, because it will help you to find all of the friends of those fans, okay? And if you combine this then with one of the additional filters, and especially one of the interest filters for your industry, this will really help you to boost your sales and scale your business. So thank you very much for listening, and download the guide right now and apply to your own campaigns as soon as possible. Thank you. Take care.